trigger warning, you guys. I'm going to show you some gore. So please get the children out of the room, okay? Is everybody... Here are the gory images of what is happening to PlayStation 5 in Japan. It's an absolute bloodbath. Now, I knew that things were bad when I heard the spokesman of Sony reassuring customers that they are still a Japanese company. And he was doing this reassurance from California, yeah. Like, why would you have to say that? Why would you even have to bring that up? I mean, imagine if the spokesperson of General Motors would reassure customers that they're still an American company, and he would do that from Beijing. It's almost like a sketch for a bad comedy movie, isn't it? And this is, of course, due to the fact that Japanese people were very upset with the direction that Sony is going. If you speak Japanese, or if you don't and happen to know a Japanese person, like, feel free to ask them, and you will see the absolute takedown of every single modern progressive game that's coming out, like The Last of Us 2. Like, the Japanese people absolutely despise them. They despise all of the woke games, and furthermore, they also do not understand why characters are being race swapped. Like, they don't like that shit. And you gotta understand, Japanese people, they're also very nationalistic oriented when it comes to their entertainment. They would sometimes buy the same manga 10 times just to support the writer. Like, they're very nationalistic oriented like that. So, the fact that they're not buying PlayStations has actually to do with the fact that they do not consider Sony to be a quote-unquote Japanese company, and this is why the spokesperson actually had to address that. Because they understand the Japanese culture. Now, of course, it would be silly of me to assume that that is the only reason. Another reason is the fact that there are no exclusives on PlayStation, as far as I can think of. Like, maybe there's like 3 or 4 exclusives, but I have a feeling that if you wait long enough, eventually they're going to be available for PC. So at this point in time, I see absolutely no reason whatsoever on why anyone would want to buy a PlayStation over a PC. Unless you like the controller, but like even then, you know, like maybe just, you have too much money to spend. And you just want to play something on your big screen TV while sitting on the couch. And you don't know how to do that with a computer, it's too complicated for you. Like that would probably be the only reason that anyone would buy a PlayStation right now. Maybe when VR2 comes out, like maybe then, like you can justify the price because it's going to be like a cheaper VR experience than for PC. But even so, like it's just not worth it. Because again, like look here, you can buy the Wii. And Japanese are doing that because, sorry, not the Wii, the Switch. And Japanese people are doing that because the Switch actually has exclusives. It actually has games. You can not only play it on your big screen TV, but you can also play it handheld, which is a great addition. It doesn't do any of the censorship nonsense. Like, this is mind-fucking because it used to be that the PlayStation would allow new things, like, you know, showing The Witcher butt-ass naked and stuff like that. And it was the Switch that would censor like crazy, because the Switch was a more like a family-friendly platform. But now it's the other way around. Like the same game gets censored on PS5. You know, like you got like some romance novel and they immediately censor any skin. You know, it's almost like they hired some hardcore Christians and some Islamists over there at Sony to make sure that there's absolutely no lewdness. And meanwhile, Nintendo has no problem with that. And again, like, a lot of Japanese people are ideologically oriented when they consume stuff, and they just hate this type of censorship. Like, they don't want to support it. They don't want to have anything to do with this level of mentality. And it's like, okay, well, maybe the Americans can put up with it, but Japanese people don't. So it's one of the reasons. And I already mentioned the others. But what can I say? I mean, hopefully, more and more people are going to make this decision in the West because Sony should be forced to innovate. They should be forced to actually bring a product that's worthwhile, and that's good. Because right now, it's absolute dog shit. Absolute dog shit. Start having some exclusives. Stop with the censorship. Stop telling people what they should want. Oh, and by the fucking way, you know what else Sony does? I remember when they came up with the concept that they're going to have some AI that's going to listen in when you're playing games online, and they're going to listen in for any hate sprache. You know, like if you utter the words of hate, the billion-dollar corporation is going to be your movie. So get this, right? Like, I can play with my friend, and I can do banter with them. I can make edgy jokes. Oh, no, Sony doesn't consent to that. Oh, they're like, oh, no, my private company can do whatever it wants, even spy on your own fucking house. Why would I have spyware in my house in that situation? Why the fuck would I want to have spyware in my... Can anyone tell me, like, when my parents lived under communism, under the troll communists, what they did was, like, they were worried, oh my god, there's microphones in the walls. Like, what if they put a microphone in my fucking home? You know, like, my telephone might have a microphone. Nowadays, people purchase the fucking microphone and put it in their homes by their own volition. Like, they want the microphone. Like, please listen to me, big corporation. Please listen in. Like, that is Orwellian as fuck. And again, I don't know why people put up with it. They didn't put up with it back in the day when you had Xbox One. The reason Xbox One almost failed and like it was just a massive PR disaster is because, number one, they wanted it online only. Number two, they wanted it to have the Kinect, which is like a camera, be sold and have to be connected with the game 24/7, and it would monitor your heartbeat and shit so that they can sell that information to game developers and say, oh, at this portion of the game, consumers were the most excited. Like they wanted to monetize your fucking vitals, chat. They wanted to monetize your fucking vitals. Why would I put up with that shit? And on top of that, God knows if they would have recorded in your house or not. You know, like, obviously, like, they wouldn't target an individual. Like, they weren't going after a person. But the data has value, right? So, if you're going to monetize my lived existence, why can't you give me some money in return, you greedy fucks? Because I would consent to that. You know, pay me, and I would consent to that shit. Like, how much money are you making by selling that information to the game developers? Give me a cut. Stop being so fucking greedy. Like, give an advantage for people who are willing to consent to your fucking social experiments. Miangle. You know, so like, that's why Xbox One failed. Because at the time, in America, and in other places of the world, people didn't put up with that shit. But now, slowly and surely, because all companies are doing it, and it's being the slow boiling of the frog process, eventually, everyone is okay with it. So, like, when Sony said, oh, yeah, well, we're listening for hate speech, and we have an AI that's going to listen to you when you're talking with a friend online, people are like, meh. I mean, that's reasonable. You know, like, Facebook already checks for hate speech, Twitter does, and Twitch does. Like, why shouldn't Sony? Why should? It's just not a company. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.